We'll start out west, hike our way all the way through the Great Smoky Mountains, and end up atop our nation's capital. Along our hike, we'll explore all the habitats these birds live in, as well as see the skills and adaptations that each of them have to help them survive in the wild. Be sure to keep your eyes out though, because you never know which feathered friends we'll spot flying along the way. We might spot birds that are expert hiders, birds that can see for miles, and maybe even birds that are a little patriotic. But we can't go out there just yet. A tour like this can't be done without the help of some amazing tour guides. Otherwise, who knows where you'd end up or what bird might grab you. So, let's everyone go ahead and give a warm welcome to our tour guides.
How's everybody doing? Good. Well, welcome to the Wings of America show here at Dollywood. My name is Bailey.
I'm Tal.
And my name is Sam.
And we all work at the American Eagle Foundation, where we work to care for almost 80 non-releasable birds of prey, including all the eagles that you see up on the hill behind us. Now, all of the eagles and all of the birds on our team started their lives out in the wild, but due to various injuries that didn't heal right, health conditions, or human imprints, they now live with us because they wouldn't be able to survive on their own. And we're excited to introduce you guys to some of those birds on our team today. In order to get that started, we've got to go ahead and send these two off stage to get our first bird ready. So everybody say bye! And that means I get to hang out here with you guys for a minute longer and go over all the fun guidelines for our show. Because our show is a little bit special. We're not just going to be standing up here with birds on stage. We're going to be getting some birds down up close and personal to you guys. So we're going to be walking around and up these aisleways, and so we've got some special guidelines that go along with that. First and foremost, if you've got any food, I know it's around lunchtime, if you've got any food items, please make sure that those are tucked away and out of sight. We've got our birds trained with food, and even though they know we've got some pretty good stuff up here in our pouches, they have figured out over the years that Dollywood cinnamon bread and barbecue and kettle corn exists. So unless you want to lose that to a vulture today, I would make sure that that is tucked away and out of sight. Next, as we're walking, please make sure to keep these aisleways clear. I know, at least speaking for myself, I am incredibly clumsy and I will fall on the smallest thing ever. So keeping those clear will help to keep the show nice and smooth. Also, if you need to enter or exit the theater at any point during the show, please wait until myself or one of the fellas are back up here with the bird, because sometimes people standing up in the middle of the show while we're walking around can confuse them or spook them, and we want them to have a good time out here. Next, if you guys want to take any pictures or videos, we highly encourage you to do so. Take as many as you want. Just please make sure that you've got that flash turned off. The flash also can spook our birds, and we want them to have a good time. So just double check that that flash is off before you start taking pictures. And last but not least, speaking of birds getting spooked, in the unlikely event that we have a bird get spooked, chances are they're going to try and fly up into these rafters up here. And in the unlikely event of that happening, don't do what half of you guys just did and look up with your mouths wide open, because I promise that is not free Dollywood ice cream falling from the ceiling. Yep, our birds are trained, but they are not potty trained. So unless you guys want to have some bird poop in your mouth, I would keep those mouths nice and closed if we've got a bird up in the rafters. But besides that, we are very excited to have you guys at our show today. I know it's after lunch, we're all kind of hitting that food coma, so I know we could use a little bit of an energy boost. Y'all ready to see some birds today? Alright, that was okay, but my energy only went up like 2%, so I need a little bit more. Are we ready to see some birds today? Alright, nice. Stick around and we'll have our first one with you in just a minute.
Welcome to the deserts of the West, where temperatures reach over 100 degrees during the day and below freezing at night. It may not seem like any animals could survive out here, but as it turns out, the desert is full of reptiles, mammals, and yes, birds. Birds here have to be able to withstand the harsh environment with ways to stay cool or warm. They must be able to blend into the sand and rocks, find holes to burrow in, or cactuses to perch on, or even team up to find food. And I think one of them is around here somewhere.
All right, pop quiz time. Who can tell me what the fastest animal in the world is? Cheetah, hawk, peregrine falcon. Here's some good answers. But I am glad to tell you that you are all wrong. The fastest animal in the world is me. Just kidding. It's this peregrine falcon right here. Everybody, let me introduce Leia, our beautiful peregrine falcon. Now, peregrine falcons are the fastest animal in the world. I know some of you said cheetah. Cheetahs can go up to about 70, 80 miles an hour. Peregrine falcons, well above 200 miles an hour when they're diving. Now, let's dive into that. Let's see why she's so fast. Why these guys can move so fast through the sky. It's going to be hard for you guys to see, but inside their nostrils, they've got these spirals that help break up that wind as they're diving at those high speeds. So imagine you're in your car, you stick your head out the window while you're going down the highway, it gets real hard to breathe. That's what these spiral nostrils are for, to avoid that air going straight in and breaks it up for a little bit and allows them to fly. Now, anybody play sports? You see the athletes wearing the eye black under their eyes, and that's to reflect the sun. So the sun is not in your eyes while you're playing, flying, doing whatever you want to do. He has these same marks. These are called malar marks, and they help reflect the sun while she is up there diving and gliding. You'll also notice her wings and her tail are much sleeker and angular than the rest of our birds of prey. That's why they've made some of our military jets after these guys, designed just like them, and also the Millennium Falcon, if you believe in that. Now, what do we think these peregrine falcons need to hunt? Why would they need to be that fast? What are they hunting out there? Go ahead and shout it out. You guys can guess? Other birds? That's a good answer. That is exactly what they're hunting up there. It's other birds. So they're up there, soaring real high. They see these other smaller birds beneath them, and that's when they begin their descent. Now, I know you're thinking, they've got these claws. They probably fly down, grab them right out of the air, but no. Instead, it is much more hardcore. These guys have an extended middle knuckle, if you'll notice. Their middle talon is way longer than the others. They will ball up their talons and punch their prey bird out of the air. And then they are fast and stealthy enough to whip back around and catch that bird before it hits the ground. Now, these guys, as conservationists, usually we're like, habitat destruction is pretty bad, right? We all get it. We're taking away homes from these birds. These guys have actually adapted pretty well to that. Because in the wild, these guys will live on rock outcroppings, big high cliff faces, anywhere high with a nice space underneath it that they can nest and no one else can get to. Now, can anybody tell me what in a city setting that these guys might like to live in that sounds like that? Skyscrapers, exactly. These guys can be found in most of your major cities. They have a skyscraper they've picked out and built a nest on. Down here in Knoxville, there's one that has moved into town recently, and you can see it on a good day. There's also what's called Peregrine Peak over here in the Smokies. Probably 30, 45 minutes away from here. You can hike up there. There's a nesting pair. You can watch them. You might get lucky and see them soar. Excuse me. Now, we talked about these knuckles in the middle being longer than the rest of them. What we didn't say is that their hands have a mechanism inside of them, and once they do swoop around and catch that prey, they can lock their hands down, just like we can our jaws. Once they have that prey in hand, they will grab, lock, and their prey will not be able to escape, and those toes will not be able to move. Now, Miss Leia here, you'll notice only had one eye. When she was found, she had a beak deformity, which made her be non-releasable, couldn't hunt on her own. That's how she came to us. Then when she was in care, she developed glaucoma. And so the vets at UT decided we have to take that eye out so she can live healthily and a nice life. And let me tell you, she does live a nice life. She is our most spoiled bird. She eats more food than every other bird every day. And I'm sure some of you saw this coming, but if you've seen Star Wars, you know what we like to call her. Say it with me. It is Princess Leia. Alright, everybody give a big round of applause for the world's fastest animal.
Let's head into the Great Plains of the U.S. These lands were once roamed by herds of buffalo. This area is full of huge creatures like bison and large herds, but also tiny creatures hiding beneath the tall grass. The plains are a great place for birds to find small mammals like rabbits and shrews. Birds here must rely on excellent eyesight, spotting prey from a mile away while soaring high in the air. There aren't many trees around, so you might find birds soaring for hours upon hours using air currents. Some birds even rely on their keen sense of smell. Who knows? If you spot a group of raptors circling a large area, there may be something freshly dead you might find. There's all kinds of high flyers out here, and I think one of them might be soaring nearby.
All right, before we bring out our next bird, I have a question for y'all. How do we feel about vultures? That might be the worst reaction all day, but thank you guys. Now, I saw some of y'all that were, cheering. I saw most of y'all were kind of in the middle. I saw some of y'all that were thumbs down, and those people need to leave. I'm kidding, but that's fair. A lot of people feel that way about vultures. A lot of people think that they're just dumb, ugly birds out to eat dead stuff and spread disease. But I'm here to prove to y'all today that is not true at all. Vultures are very smart and important animals, and they actually benefit our health directly. But don't just take it from me. To prove that to y'all, we're going to welcome out our black vulture, Mr. Bedlam. Look how cute he is. Now, like I said, Bedlam is a black vulture. That's one of two vulture species y'all can find in this area. The other is the turkey vulture. They're the ones with those bright red heads. Now, vultures don't make a lot of noises. That's actually because they don't have a voice box at all. So really the only noise they make is some grunts or hisses. But as he flies and slaps this guy's head, you might be able to hear those loud wings. These guys are not silent flyers, so it's good that the food that these guys eat probably can't hear them coming. Guys, can anyone tell me what it is that vultures like to eat? This stuff, roadkill, you're right. Someone yesterday said children, that's kind of fun. But no, roadkill, if you want to be polite, the official term is carrion, remember that. Now, sometimes vultures get a little bit of a stigma about them. Some people think that they're ugly or freaky looking because of that bald head. But y'all, we should be very glad that vultures are bald. Because like we said, they eat dead stuff, roadkill, carrion. So, if they had beautiful feathers on top of their heads, and they went to go eat their dead stuff, or carrion, those feathers would instantly become disgusting. So it's very beneficial for them to have that bald head. Now, what most people don't know is that these guys are nature's way of stopping disease spread. Their stomach acid is so strong that they can handle eating that dead stuff, but it is so strong that it can break down deadly diseases. Stuff like rabies, botulism, he loves me, or even anthrax. So, when they're taking care of that gross roadkill, the dead stuff, they're stopping other animals that can get those diseases from getting them, even animals like us. Now, sadly though, most species of vulture in the world are considered endangered. Like we said, we need these guys for the health of our world. So by far the easiest way to help them out is to go out and dispel those myths about them. That they spread disease, that they're dumb, they're ugly. Bedlam is adorable. If you say he's not, you're lying. So I hope that he's changed some opinions about vultures for y'all. So have that one more time for our bald-headed head.
We've now made it here to the Great Smoky Mountains. Around here, the forest is very dense, and at times it's hard to see the sky through all the leaves and branches. In this place, everywhere you look, you'll see some kind of wildlife. You'll spot raccoons in the trees, bears and deer walking through the dense brush. You can even find salamanders and snakes along the trails. The trees around here almost never end. It seemed like the perfect place for some birds to go unseen. Raptors around here build nests high in the canopies, or even find a hole in a tree. You'll probably walk right by a bird and never know it due to their ability to camouflage into the colors of the forest. It might seem like finding birds around here would be impossible, but I'm sure one of them is hiding in plain sight around here somewhere.
Alright, before we bring these next birds out, I would like to remind everyone to keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times. Sam and I are professionals, and we will do our best to keep you safe, but these ferocious beasts do tend to have a mind of their own. So let me introduce you to Buster and Gimli, our eastern screech owls. Now, show of hands, just off first glance, who thinks these are adult owls? Okay. Who thinks these are baby owls? The other half. I better see every hand up for this next one. Who thinks both of these guys are just absolutely adorable? Yeah, that's right. Alright, Eastern Screech Owls. Now, the name's a little misleading because they don't make any screech calls at all. Instead, they make this kind of wavering whistle call that sounds like this. As we're walking around with these guys, there's a couple things I want you to look at and take notice. First off, these feather tufts on top of their head look like ears, right? They actually have nothing to do with hearing at all. These are called unicorns, and they are used for camouflage. Imagine these guys are up in their tree at night, a predator comes along, they'll stick those unicorns up real high, think real skinny, close their eyes, and they'll look just like any other branch on that tree. You'll also notice that these two are different colors, or as we call them, phases. There are 3 phases of Eastern Screech Owl. There is the gray phase, which is what Buster here is, the red phase, which is Gimli over there, and then there's also a brown phase. Can you guys guess maybe what color those ones are? Hot pink. Alright. The biggest threat to these guys is going to be our vehicles, actually. So imagine these guys are having their nice little mouse snack on the side of the road in the night. Headlights come by and they get spooked. They fly off across the road, right into an oncoming car. Sadly, that is what happened to both of these guys. They were both car accident victims. Buster here, you guys may have noticed, only has one eye. So he came to us with a detached retina. The vets at UT decided it would be best for him to live healthily if they removed that eye. Gimli over there was also struck by a vehicle, and it determined he had a traumatic brain injury, and that left him with irritable bowel syndrome. These are full-grown adults. Another way we can help these guys, aside from not striking with our vehicles on the side of the road, is building them homes. These guys are cavity nesters, which means they like to live in tree holes, whether that hole came with the tree or a woodpecker or some other kind of critter built it, they will move right in. If you look under the screen on the right side over there, you see what we call a nest box, and these guys would love to live in those if you want to build it at your house. You scan these QR codes on the screen, it'll take you to our website, and it'll give you the free plans to build a nest box. It'll tell you when to put that nest box up, which way to face it, about how long you can expect until your friends move in. Then, when they move in, you're going to have free pest control, because these guys will love to eat all those little mice that you have living at your house that you don't want. Now, would anybody like to guess how much these guys might weigh? What do you think? 1 pound, 2 pounds, half a pound? Alright, 5 ounces? Someone's cheating over there, someone's Googling. I will tell you guys, they weigh about 5 to 8 ounces, which is really wearing on my finger right now. Now, I know everybody wants to wrap them up right, stick them in your pocket, take it home, cuddle it, love it, all the good things. Please don't. It's a felony. You're not allowed. I will call the law on you by the time you get to the front gate. But if you do want your own screech owl for home, these guys weigh about as much as that smartphone in your pocket. Feel free to download yourself a nice little screech owl background. You can love and talk to it all day. If you're feeling a little more adventurous, you can go to Walmart, get yourself a baseball. They weigh the same. There's some glue, some feathers on it, a couple googly eyes. Just one googly eye if you want a Buster. And have your very own screech owl at home to love and cuddle. So let's give a big round of applause for our smallest race today.
Well, we finally made it. From the deserts, through the golden fields, to the Great Smoky Mountains themselves. We've traveled across this incredible country, and now we're standing right at its heart, the United States Capitol. This is the place where history is made, where ideas shape the course of our country, and where the American spirit stands tall. From sea to shining sea, we've seen it all. Every beautiful place that birds call home. But even up here, something is still missing. A bird as bold and resilient as the nation it represents. One that has soared above every landscape we've crossed, watching over rivers, mountains, and cities alike, and following us here all along the way. We've journeyed across an entire country, and now, at the heart of it all, it's time to meet the bird that stands as a symbol of everything we've seen and everything we believe in. Get ready to meet the one that started it all, America's national bird, the bald eagle.
All right, guys. I would like to introduce you all to Challenger. Challenger is about 36 years old. He has been with the American Eagle Foundation for almost his entire life. Now, he has been with us since he was a baby because out in the wild, unfortunately, a storm blew his nest over. And some well-meaning folks decided to take him in and try to nurse him back to health. However, because they weren't wildlife rehabilitators and because Challenger was so young, he developed a very strong human imprint while he was in their care. So when they released him back out into the wild, it wasn't long before he came back into wildlife rehabilitation because he was found in parking lots, emaciated, begging for food, trying to get some care out in the wild. If we have any folks in the audience from Louisiana, that is where Mr. Challenger was from. However, once he got back into wildlife rehabilitation and they determined that he could no longer hunt on his own, that's when he came to us at the American Eagle Foundation, and he has done incredible work over the course of his lifetime as an ambassador for his species, but also for wildlife and raptors across the globe, which I will get into just a little bit. Now, I'm sure you guys have wondered at some point or another why bald eagles have that name when they're clearly not bald. Obviously, he is covered in gorgeous feathers, and in the case of bald eagles, that word actually comes from an old English word that just means white-headed. So in the case of bald eagles, their name literally just means white-headed eagle. And a little bit of a fun fact about that for you guys is that they don't develop this iconic white head and tail until they're about 5 years old. Up until that point, thank you sir, they are almost entirely brown. So they often get mistaken for golden eagles or the biggest hawk you've ever seen in your life whenever they're juveniles. However, once you know how to look for them, they become really easy to spot. If you guys ever find yourselves taking a tour of our headquarters location in Kodak, Tennessee, we are not far from Douglas Lake, and bald eagles are water birds, so we get a lot of wild eagles flying around. So if you guys get the chance to take a tour and you see a juvenile bald eagle flying around, you would definitely impress your tour guide for knowing that, because a lot of people are very surprised. Now, it's crazy to believe that because the bald eagle is so beloved and so iconic here in the United States, that it was ever on the verge of extinction. However, around the 60s and 70s, we almost lost the bald eagle, starting off with a pesticide called DDT that was killing them out in the wild, as well as illegal shootings, habitat destruction, and pollution. However, thanks to the banning of DDT, as well as the conservation efforts, can I have my shirt back? Thank you. As well as the conservation efforts of organizations across the country, including the American Eagle Foundation here in Tennessee, the bald eagle was taken off the endangered species list in 2007. And a little bit of a fun fact about Challenger here is that he was actually present at the White House at the time of the bald eagle being taken off the endangered species list. And that moment alone is a testament to the amount of work that he's done over the course of his lifetime to spread conservation messages for his species. Now, the American Eagle Foundation partook in that effort, even though we no longer breed and release bald eagles out into the wild, now that they're no longer endangered. Over the course of the time that we did so, we released over 400 bald eagles here in the hills of the Great Smoky Mountains, and over 1,000 birds of prey species in total. So we are very proud to have Challenger up on stage and tell you guys about the amazing success of bald eagle conservation. However, the work with that is not done because bald eagles still face threats out in the wild today, and we all have to work together, not just conservation organizations, but everyday folks as well, to help keep the bald eagle off the endangered species list and keep their populations soaring out in the wild. So I know I mentioned earlier that bald eagles are water birds, so unfortunately they still do get tangled up in fishing line very frequently. So simply just cleaning up after ourselves, thank you sir, simply just cleaning up after ourselves when we go fishing is a really easy way not only to protect bald eagles, but to protect other wildlife as well. Also, if you yourself are a hunter or if you know somebody who likes to hunt, changing your bullets to bullets that are not made of lead is a really easy way to also help protect bald eagles. A piece of lead, what do you see? A piece of lead that's the size of a grain of rice is large enough to kill a bald eagle out in the wild. And unfortunately, wildlife rehabilitators get a lot of bald eagles coming in with lead poisoning, so changing the materials that we use when we hunt is another really easy way to help protect bald eagles out in the wild. Now, even though Challenger is the last word of our show today, don't leave us just yet. I'm going to invite my buddies back out here with me here in a second to give you guys some ways to get involved, some donation opportunities, and some time to meet Challenger as well. So I'm going to turn it over to them.
All right, well, like Bailey said, we want to thank y'all for coming out to our show. Without y'all's support, we could not do what we do, and our birds would not have a second chance at life. Now, if you want to help out some of our birds, like Challenger and all the others that you saw today, there are a few ways that you can do that. So there's actually a donation box right down here at the edge of stage, and they're all along the fence line to Eagle Mountain Sanctuary. If you have a cash donation, anything would help out our birds, from $1 to $5 to your life savings. Literally anything will take it. But if you don't have cash, we still love you. There's going to be some QR codes on these screens if you want to get it electronically. But there's also one if you want to check out our headquarters that we just opened. That's actually where most of our birds live every single day. But for everyone's favorite price, the price of free, you can get your very own picture with Challenger and Bailey. Now, just a few rules before we all get up to do that. Challenger can get spooked if he's overcrowded. So in just a minute, when I let y'all go, if we want to start a nice single file line at this black tape right here, next to that little piece of mouse, cool, and snake that line, hugging the snakes this way. Now, a few other rules: please do not crowd over on this side over here where Cal is. Again, Challenger can't get spooked if he's overcrowded. Again, also, please do not try to pet Challenger or run up on stage. He's a very old gentleman. Now, I will also be up here if you have any questions or want to talk more about our birds, and Tal will be over there if you want him to take a picture or have any questions for him. But with all that being said, thank y'all so much again for coming out to our show today. Y'all were an amazing audience. Y'all have a great rest of your day here at Dollywood.
It's pointing at John. It's pointing at me. Oh. Okay, guys, we're gonna go get in line and meet Challenger. And I'm gonna take you all along with me. Well, I don't want y'all to sit here and wait in line. Guys, well, what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna wrap up because I want to take a picture with Challenger, so be sure to go to our Instagram so you can see that picture, so you can see Challenger up close and personal. We will, within the next couple weeks, be doing this again, so be on the lookout because I also want to show you all the other amazing birds as well that are here. Dollywood, again, does a fantastic job with this foundation, so definitely be sure to check this all out. I really hope you all have a fantastic day. Again, go ahead, like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, all the things. But I'll see you all later. Bye.
taking a smoke or something.
Well,
And
they're
sharing it.
gone.